Hello, and welcome to 5 for Friday for this Friday, April 14th, 2023. Here at 5 for Friday, I take it as my mission to curate these massive volumes of news stories without politics that maybe you don't have time to read and try to group them into 5 stories in about 5 minutes. So I do all the hard work, or in my mind, the fun work, so that I can share these topics that I think might impact you and your small business. Today, we'll look at some shifts in employee benefits, the combination of politics and chatbots, the rise of the Bitcoin, some VR trends, and the secret to immortality. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's get going. We'll start with topic number 1, fringe benefits. The big tech companies are cutting down on benefits, including stock awards at Amazon and tape and staplers. Yes, you heard that right, tape and staplers at Google. Oh, and yoga and breakfast muffins. We're seeing a huge increase in people taking parental leave and requesting more flexibility in their working hours. Even among blue-collar workers who don't really have the option of working remotely still want some flexibility. In addition, some states have mandated retirement savings plans recently, which has led to more small businesses in those states opening 401ks for their employees. But we are still one of the only countries in the world with no guaranteed paid time off, so we've got some progress to make still. What can your business afford to offer to recruit and retain your employees? Maybe it's time to promote that benefit you didn't think you had at all. Tape and staples, all the tape and staples you want. Can't get that at the big tech firms. All right, moving on to story number 2, AI and politics. While we're all busy trying to figure out if ChatGPT and other chatbots are a force for good or evil, Italy has just said no to the chatbot until it can at least ensure privacy of its citizens using the app. China is more focused on making sure that chatbots don't accidentally say something wrong about the government. And India says, no regulation here, let our entrepreneurs grow unfettered by government. Can we really regulate by country in such a flat world? I say no, except maybe for China, but we'll see. And with that, let's move on to story number 3, the rise or re-rise of Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin has surged in the past week with a gain of over 80% from last year's price at this time. Some think that it's due to a New York Times article on how much energy Bitcoin mines are using across the country, which caused Bitcoin miners to want to invest more in Bitcoin, while others think it has to do with banking instability. Either way, things are looking up for Bitcoin, but down for criminals who are using Bitcoin, as the blockchain that is supposed to ensure anonymity seemingly falls apart when the federal authorities access one criminal's account. Because the blockchain finding one criminal can apparently connect them to all the other criminals they did business with? I don't know. Note to self, no money laundering through Bitcoin. All right. And moving on to story number 4, trends in virtual reality. TikTok is entering the VR world with its own headsets and trying to recruit Meta developers to move over to their platform for future development. VR can be beneficial, like helping people with PTSD go through simulations that help them manage their issues. And apparently, Major League Baseball is hoping to attract fans to its augmented reality platform, so you can watch and play at the same time, I guess? But it turns out that teens don't really have any interest in VR, or baseball for that matter. So this could be a challenge. I don't see VR disappearing altogether, but I'll keep an eye on this trend. Now moving on to our final story, story number 5, anti-aging or immortality. It turns out that super rich people don't want to die, and they're ready to spend a lot of their money on options to stretch out their lives. The rest of us might be at least happy to hear that science is marching on to help address some major health issues. This includes creating personalized stem cells from our own blood or skin that could help us treat things like Parkinson's or heart failure. And several other healthcare firms are working on some anti-aging solutions so we can all live to be 100 or more. Keep an eye on all of this because it does tie to the demographics of an aging population that wants to remain relevant and active well past the age their parents were. We're not dead yet. And on that note, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me for this week's 5 for Friday. If you're curious about the newsletter, which always has a lot more detail and individual stories than the video, then check out my website and request to see a free copy before you pay to subscribe. And as always, thanks for joining me today. Please feel free to sign up to subscribe on YouTube or find me on my website and subscribe there so you can continue to hear about all these signals of change that could impact your small business. Thanks for joining me and happy Friday.